all of you guys, all of the community are absolutely instrumental in our success. And that's what I love about what's changing in the investment landscape. It's no longer, financial advisors or gatekeepers that are determining what they're going to shill their customers, their end customers who don't know what's up. Like, people know what's up now. And yeah, you guys are instrumental into our success. Absolutely.
First of all, Sue, thank you so much for coming on. Number one. Number two, guys, just so everyone is aware. That was quick. Just so everybody is aware, this is not an ad. We are not encouraging you to purchase any equities of a company. This is not anything like that. This is just, I know I invested in the past in Hut 8 mining. Some of you guys are also invested, but this is not specifically about Hut itself as far as the equity, but it's about the company, what they're doing, their future, also to understand, crypto mining and hash rates and all that good stuff for you guys that may not be 100% integrated with that whole cult. Investing sector. So with that said, Sue, thank you so much for showing up this time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. First of all, my father-in-law died last time. Didn't ghost you, had to do some shit, but I'm really happy to be here today. Love your channel, love your community. So yeah, glad we could chat.
Oh, I forgot. Okay. Oh, God.
No, don't worry. It was expected, but that's why I ghosted you. I'm really happy to be here today.
All right. Same thing. And like I said, I do appreciate you coming on, but I just wanted to, before we get started, I wanted to ask a couple things. The first thing I wanted to ask is, where does your nickname come from?
BigSuey.
BigSuey. Did you play like sports?
No. So I used to be like a social media antichrist. This is back in 2014. And a guy who I was dating at the time was really big up at Facebook. And it was like a problem in our relationship that I wouldn't go on social media. So finally one day I was like, all right, fine. I'll go on social media. I'll make some accounts. I'm going to call myself Big Sue 6969.
Of course.
And then I definitely had to drop the 6969 when I joined Hut. But it was just born of me not taking it seriously at first, but now I love it. I love that, WallStreetBets really showed that, retail and social is like the new decentralized hedge fund. And I'm here and I'm happy to chat with you guys. So
if anybody was wondering if she's one of us, she's one of us. Speaking of WallStreetBets and the whole retail thing, how did that? Okay, you guys. First of all, the fact that they hired you blows my mind. But it doesn't really because I have a show, so people like us can actually integrate or at least pretend like we're functioning members of society. I respect that. But yeah. the WallStreetBets and the hype and things like that, as a company, what did you guys, without giving up too much information, how did that board meeting go when GameStop hyped out? Like what was the all hands on deck meeting like after that?
Look, I think that a lot of at least the people at Hut. Well, I remember, so Jamie, our CEO, took over last December, and then she hired me about 12 days later. And I think one of the first conversations her and I had was, I was like, yo, we need to be talking directly to our retail investors. Like this is like the democratization of investing and information sharing. Like, it's no longer the tier 2 banks who have the information, or, your financial advisor that knows everything. Like, there's and so one of the first things I said to her is like, we got to start talking directly to people. Like, none of this BS that we only communicate through press releases or on analyst calls. Like this, that was sort of our number one goal, was to build relationships directly with you guys, because we think that's the future, right? And we're in Bitcoin, which is all about decentralized power, decentralization of information. So, yeah.
Now, when I reached out to you and I said, I was asking about it, you said, I said, have you ever seen my show? And you said, yes. Uh-huh. So at which point I realized that before you do one of these, you have to run it by your team, I assume.
This one, I was just like,
I'm assuming you didn't run this one by them, because I'm thinking to myself, how did that conversation go? Like, I'm going on the Stock Guy show. No. So I just wanted to just see how that worked out.
No. I had a couple people look at your stuff and they're like, yeah, this is great. Look, this is where our retail investors are, man. So it matters that we chat with guys like you. This is good. Like, what you're doing is good. And again, democratizing access to information. So we want to be here.
Yeah, that's why I love the streaming part of it, because it's just open information. I don't do courses or signal services or any of that. I'm just a guy who likes stocks and money nerding out and sharing it with people. Okay. Before I jump into the last thing I wanted to ask you, and this is how I like to get things started all the time, is, all right, you wake up tomorrow and someone has transferred 1,000 Bitcoin into your wallet. What's the first thing you do?
Oh, what's the first thing I do? I definitely deploy some cash into some of the layer 2 sort of ETH killers that are out there for sure, that I still think are trading at criminal discounts.
Go on.
I gotta say, then maybe take some friends and fam on a sexy trip on a plane somewhere fun and like have a little party. But yeah, no, I'd probably deploy some serious cash into some of the ETH alts first.
Like which ones?
My answer
Just curious.
sucks. Look, I mean,
I'm not. This isn't. We're not selling anything to anybody. Just curious. We're just talking.
It's true. We're not selling anything to anyone. Certainly like Matic, AVAX, Atom. I love Engine Coin, IMX. I'd probably buy some GOG tokens. I don't have those yet. Phantom, I'm just starting to learn about. Though I definitely would put some cash there, and then I'd probably take some friends and family on a sexy trip.
Sounds like fun. And your journey into crypto, like, it has nothing to do with where you came from, who you are, but it's just, you said that you were dating somebody who worked at Facebook, and then you ended up basically what I'm asking is, how the hell did you get this job? Like, what led you to getting the investor relations job at Hut 8 Mining? I'm just curious where that came from.
Yeah, so my background actually is in traditional financial services. And back in 2016, I was, number one, feeling dead inside. Like, I literally was Googling Monday mornings at 9:15, like, is it like what signs you hate your job? And I was in financial services on the asset management side. I mean, the company I worked for was fine. It was great, but I was so frustrated seeing just the way that the back office processes, the different silos of information, and effectively like the prehistoric processes that a major asset manager was using to manage people's money. And I was like, there's got to be some solution to this. This is insane. Like, I'm still sending faxes. Anyhow, and then that's when I started learning about blockchain. That's when I started going down the ferret funnel about crypto. People say rabbit hole. I think that word is overused. I'm calling it ferret funnel. So that's how I started. I left my job. That's how I started getting into the space. And then I was one of the initial hires on the wealth trading desk at CoinSquare, which is one of the largest exchanges in Canada, back in 2017. And then I worked at a distributed decentralized identity company called Shift Network. And then I actually was going to go join MasterCard. There was a job I was interviewing for. And then I had two different people tell me that I had to meet this chick, Jamie Leverton, who was taking over Hut 8. Initially, I said no. And then finally, I was like, okay, fine, I'll have a chat with her. And then, Jamie and I hit it off. She took over as CEO December 1st. And then I was in the chair 12 days later. And we were making a plan to disrupt how people talk about Canadian mining and effectively just grow a major company in the space.
Canadian mining. So I did a little research, not much, but I like to go into these just completely blind because I think it's more organic to learn. But I did a little bit of research, and I saw something that I never thought of, and it was the biggest five-head thing I ever thought of. So, full disclosure, for those who've been watching my channel, you guys probably know this because I was playing Hut all through the meme run. I made a god-awful lot of money on it and legged out. But one of the reasons that I got into Hut, the reason I chose Hut 8 was not so much the work you were getting. You guys smart. You guys nabbed up all that Nvidia, all those Nvidia GPUs before the supply chain crunch. I saw that on your Twitter and I was like, that's bullish for me right there. So good on you guys for that. But one of the main reasons I invested in Hut as opposed to some of the other ones at the time was because you guys are Canadian, and the U.S. legislation keeps trying to push regulations, whether it's taxation or oversight or whatever. And that scares off, investors and miners, but Canada they'll follow behind as they always do, but they're not as so much with that law. So that was my reasonings. But then
yeah, we also have a head of regulatory named Tanya Woods, and she's got a team, and we're really focused on making sure that we're spending time with government officials and educating them on what Bitcoin and blockchain is and why you can't regulate this out of existence. And that's going really well so far. So just a little side caveat, we're also really focused on making sure we're making thoughtful regulation with regulators in Canada.
Good. I mean, especially I've been watching what's going on with weed, and I didn't mean to go on a monologue there, but it was to lead me into what I saw in your interview that I thought was so awesome that I had never thought of, and that's that you guys said you actually use less energy because you're in Canada and it's so cold in the winter that it actually cools your systems naturally.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to us?
Yeah. So, actually, the name escapes me right now of the liquid cooling system that's really popular right now in the States that some of our competitors are using. I don't know why the name is escaping me right now, but immersion cooling. So there is some technology right now that a lot of our competitors in the US and in hotter climates are using called immersion cooling that I know a lot of people are really excited about. And it's basically like putting, and forgive me if I butcher this technological description, it's not my wheelhouse, but it's basically effectively like putting miners that run very hot just because they're so busy solving these effectively algorithms, Sudoku games to ultimately win Bitcoin. It makes the machine run really hot. And so immersion cooling is basically like putting the miners in a bath to keep them cool. So a lot of people are really excited that Riot does this, and I think Marathon was looking at it. But we don't need it, to your point, because Hut 8 we're in two of the coldest areas in Canada. So Medicine Hat and Drumheller, Alberta, and then North Bay, Ontario is where our third site is going up. And we benefit from the natural air conditioning effectively because it's like minus 45.
Just open the window.
Exactly. And so we also end up spending less energy on HVAC systems because, again, we have open air containers in Alberta at two of our sites. So for any of your audience members that are obsessed with this immersion cooling technology, we love it. We looked at it, but our tech team was like, we already technically have this for free, which is cool.
So you're sitting on a little extra cash. That sounds like
we're pretty cashed up. We are pretty cashed up right now.
All right, and you guys, I was looking at some of the press releases as far as how many Bitcoins. How many did you guys mine in 2021?
In 2021, we did a bit, slightly under 3,000, I believe. We still have the highest amount of self-mined Bitcoin of any publicly traded miner out there. We're at about 518, I believe, as last time we reported. 5,242. So that's, like one of the highest self-mined Bitcoin holders of any publicly traded company out there. We're actually the OG hodlers in this space. We've been hodling for longer than anyone because we've been around since late 2017, early 2018, and we've always been of the mindset that you got to hold some of this asset on your balance sheet because it is incredibly valuable. So yeah, that's Hut.
Just casual 3,000 mine Bitcoin in a year. No big deal, guys. And by the way, we still own all of them and we're producing more. I love it. I love the slight we're good. All right. And I know that this interview is more about the company because that's what you do with investor relations and whatnot. But I think that I'm going to be honest with you. I am very polarizing when it comes to my opinions on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Yeah. I am not against cryptocurrency. I love the idea of it. I just look at it in its current form as unsustainable as a marketplace currency between merchants and customers right now because of that volatility, right? Like as a business owner, I'm not going to take it because if I take payment in that and it's down 30% next week, whatever. So in my opinion, it's always been the best thing about crypto is that it's unregulated. The worst thing about crypto as far as a currency is that it's unregulated. But as someone who knows so much more about all of this than me, I mean, I'm not even going to pretend that I know anything near as much as you do in this. If you were to explain what crypto is, its application, and what you think it's actually realistically going to be like in the future to a 5-year-old, could you do that?
Yeah, let's try. I would say that when you own a piece of let's say when you own a Bitcoin or a Satoshi, a piece of a Bitcoin, you're effectively owning a piece of a railway that is transporting value. And you're not owning
wow, that's good.
like the ticket not necessarily owning the ticket to get on there. You're not only owning the ticket to use the railway, but you actually own the car that transports the value of this global railway. So you're a co-owner in a business, but also a new paradigm of how value is transferred. And then in terms of the significance of crypto, look, I will tell you that something that Hut 8, and from what I can see of publicly related filings, what differentiates Hut 8 from a lot of our competitors is that we're not just looking at, like, we're incredibly bullish on Bitcoin. We're always going to be core Bitcoin miners, but you got to look at what else is happening in, as we move from Web 2 to Web 3. So as we move from Facebook and Google owning all your data and having to log into their apps to transact and use the internet, to these decentralized infrastructure and peer-to-peer payment systems that are comprising Web 3, Hut 8, we're looking at it as like, we're not only the Fed and the minters of sort of the future of the internet, this decentralized payment network, which is Bitcoin, but the reason why we also bought this Nvidia gear is because it's GPU and CPU based miners. So effectively, that enables us to pivot and be agile and play in some of these new businesses and paradigms that are coming up in Web 3.0. So
Metaverse
what do I
is
mean?
what you're talking about.
Metaverse, but
NFTs.
But also, NFTs, gaming, blockchain. I'm saying so many buzzwords here. Some of the OGs must be like, this check is full of it. But honestly, like, there's so much opportunity. And for us to get our hands on the infrastructure that can effectively play, but then also provide our investors with the opportunity to capitalize on some of these ancillary lines of business and opportunity that are happening in Web 3.0 is a huge priority for us. And it's something that we're looking at. Like, Bill Gates never would have been Bill Gates if he had just stopped at the personal computer, right? Like, so he built Microsoft. So, anyways, that was my little tangent and mini TED talk about how we look at the space, that yes, Bitcoin is important. Yes, mining Bitcoin is incredibly important. We're always going to be doing that, but there's so much more that's being built, guys, that we want to also make sure you have an exposure to. And yes, I'm head of IR, but I also am on the biz dev side. So I work really closely with my head of technology, sort of looking at different ideas. And, I can't really start to get into anything just yet because it's not publicly available, but
you will in 2 weeks when you come back.
Yes. Yeah. Happy to come back and chat, because you probably will want to chat soon.
Okay.
So.
But I just want to make sure. Well, I'll ask you again at the end because there's something going on behind the scenes. But all right. Is it cool with you? Because I really want to, I don't know how long I have with you, but I want to make sure that I come back to ask a few more things about the company specifically, just as in like, not like to sell the company, but just to kind of understand, like, because I think there's so many facets here. You've got blockchain technology, you've got mining, you've got application, you've got investing, trading, you've got so many things here that are at play. But if it's okay with you, I want to jump into my Discord, because these guys, you are perfect for Twitch. You've hit every buzzword that we need. You are a DGen. You had a name, BigSuey 6969, before you worked as a publicly traded executive. I think it's perfect. And so you're driving engagement, which is great. But I was wondering, is it okay with you if I go into my Discord and give a few questions to you? I won't hit anything that's like, personal or financial, like whatever. But all right, I just want to get these guys to be able to reach out, because that's the whole point of this interview.
How many people do you have in your Discord? I actually don't know that.
60,000.
Oh, that's
welcome, Eid Mubarak to the Bear Gang.
Let's chat.
How dare you? All right, let me go in here. All right, so it's in Bitcoin futures. Let me see if I can find the, there it is. Okay, all right. So I'm going to scroll up to the top here, because the people that got, that had questions for when you, not ghosted, but were unfortunately allowed to come, not able to come last time. I'm going to go with those guys. So just going to run a couple of them here. This is it right here. What is your Bitcoin price target? We have seen Cathie Woods issue an optimistic target of $100,000 by 2022. Are you equally bullish?
Yes. Yeah. I was on Ryan Rosbiani's YouTube, I think back in November, and then I had it at 75 to 100. I think for 2022, for sure, especially now that the Fed has indicated that they're not going to just aggressively taper tomorrow morning. I do think we could see a 75K to 100K Bitcoin this year for sure.
What do you think? Just
and that's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
that's not heading.
What's your personal speculative opinion as the bottom this year?
I think we probably hit it last week or over the weekend. I think when we hit like 38, I think I think that was the bottom. Because the problem is that, it's a good thing that Wall Street and, institutional investors are playing in the space now and are dipping their toe into Bitcoin and, ancillary lines of Bitcoin and Bitcoin businesses like miners. But the problem is that it still kind of trades like a long tech equity, right? So when the Fed indicates they're going to raise rates, people freak out and, sell tech. And so unfortunately, Bitcoin for now still kind of trades like that. But I think that narrative will decouple as people understand how this technology actually works. And yeah, I do see 75 to 100. And I think we hit our bottom.
Okay. I'm still in that 33 to 36 range is where I kind of feel like we hit, because we hit that before and kind of like bounced off. But regardless, even if that is the bottom, it's pretty close if people are into there. What do you think is the biggest, in your opinion, the biggest barrier to Bitcoin hitting 75 to 100 this year?
Honestly, I'd say the futures market. That's how a lot of sort of old school traders are able to keep the price of gold down is through futures. And I do think that if you have enough people who don't want to see Bitcoin succeed from the traditional fiat system, they can somewhat F with the price via the futures market. I'm not saying the futures market is a bad thing. The more instrumentation, the better for adoption in general in this space. But I think that is instrumental in some of the price suppression or price manipulation that we see. Oh, there's my dog in the background. So yeah, that's my answer.
Gotcha. All right. Couple other questions. And I love doing this with the community. If anything, by the way, if anything is just something you're not real comfortable with, just let me know. But here we go. What are the plans for the Ethereum hardware if ETH2 ever happens? Rent VPS?
Yeah. So one of the things that's really awesome about Jamie, there's lots of great things about Jamie, my CEO. I'm not even just saying that because I work for her. I actually believe this. She has been in the distressed data infrastructure and high performance compute space for over 20 years. So there's no other CEO in the space who has her background in high performance compute. Why does this matter? Because she has these tremendous relationships at a lot of these traditional hardware providers like Nvidia, like Dell. So we were actually one of 3 customers globally that got this limited fleet of Nvidia and GPU miners. Point is, these GPU miners were a limited fleet and they're effectively the Ferrari of GPU, CPU mining.
And you guys got them at the perfect time too.
Yeah.
Right before the whole thing went crazy.
Well, and everyone was like, oh, you're an idiot. You're going to mine shit coins. And we were like, no, we're not going to be mining sisters or what was that? What's that?
Stepsisters, stepsister coin.
We're not going to mine stepsisters. We're not mining Doge. We're not going to mine SHIB. Sorry to anyone who believes in Doge and SHIB, but or stepsisters for that matter. But point is, these miners are the Ferrari of GPUs, so we can pivot. Let's say Ethereum goes to proof of stake tomorrow morning. We can pivot and mine the next most profitable network. But more importantly, we now have a team that understands how to use this hardware. We have a head of technology that's a staking DeFi yield farming master. That's his wheelhouse, node infrastructure running. And we're now equipped to start looking at how we can capitalize on opportunities in that space. So it's not just about mining Ethereum. This is about how can we actually play in this different workload, right? So.
Okay. Stepsister coin. How dare everybody? These guys. It's a long story. We'll get to it another time. All right. Here's another one for you. What are your plans for expansion into the United States? Have you considered crypto mining friendly places like Texas?
Welcome Vibes XBT to the Big Gang.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've looked at it. We've got lots of friends in Texas. Texas is great. There's a lot of cheap power in Texas. A lot of our friends are setting up shop in Texas. Look, we said during our last raise in our filed documents, that M&A is certainly on our radar, and it's definitely something we're looking at. That's the most I can say. I mean, I can tell you that, look, this may sound silly saying this now, but I honestly believe, guys, how Jamie thinks. She's like Elon Musk 2.0, Elona Musk, however you want to call it. Like, she sees things differently. And my point in this tangent is that global expansion is certainly on our radar. And whether that be south of the border or east or west, I can't confirm anything or deny, but yeah, we certainly see a lot of opportunity south of the border.
Okay, yeah, you were saying about power in Texas being cheap, except that one time. That would have been a rough. Just throwing it out there. All right, a couple other ones. Have you guys looked at moving into liquid cooling to reduce cooling costs? We've already gone over that though, because we already talked about the temperature there.
But you can tell that person, yes, like, we looked at it. The technology is sick. The technology is amazing. We just don't need it. So, we looked at it for sure.
Guys, real quick, for those of you guys who are just rolling in right now, because we got a lot of people coming in late, this is, just hit _! Guest. It'll give you everything of who Sue is, where she's from, and why she's here. So I'm just going to give you guys that real quick. Okay. All right. Next question. What does the company currently view as its best methods to maximize shareholder value, considering the liability-light capital structure?
I think, honestly, again, I will be back on the episode, if you'll have me, when I can talk more candidly about some of our plans. But I think, given how volatile this market is, the fact that we have a diversification lens and that we apply that to sort of every business decision we make in the spirit of being agile, so that we can capture value for you guys, no matter sort of what direction the market is taking with Bitcoin, I think is a major differentiator for Hut 8 and how we look at this business versus maybe some of our competitors. Like I said earlier, if Bill Gates had just stopped at the personal computer, Microsoft would never be what it is today. And that's sort of how we look at building in this space. Like, there's so much opportunity. Do you guys, like, do you want us to just sort of stay put, or do you want to grow with us as this ecosystem continues to grow and these applications continue to grow, and you see gaming on the blockchain and all this crazy stuff? So diversification and agility is the name of the game for us, because we just think that there's so much opportunity. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was as I asked that, I realized it was probably better to ask when you come back, because you are coming back. Blue Gang, if she can, at the end of this, if she agrees, you win. Congratulations. All right. But yeah, I don't want you to feel like we have to dive into anything specific, and whatever that big thing is, guys, real quick. Also, just because she's saying there's a big news coming down the line, and she's excited to tell us about it, that does not mean buy calls. Okay. It's just, she's just coming back when she has more information.
Yeah, I'm not saying something like massive's happening. I'm just saying, as you know, I can talk a little more candidly as to some of the ways we're thinking once we publicly released it. So just,
I have to tell these guys because you never know.
Wait, and what's Blue Gang? Aren't we Red Pill Gang, or what's Blue Gang?
So on Twitch, you can do channel point predictions, and you can allow, it's a nice way of saying gambling, just like trading stocks. You can do predictions, and they can use their channel points that they collect by watching the stream. And because they're all at work and they don't do their jobs, they watch all day long and collect a lot of points. And there's a prediction going on something. And so that's what we keep on. Okay. All right. Here's back to your original thing about Wall Street Bets. This is an interesting question. And I think it's really cool to, it's so funny. Red pill now means something about Bitcoin and crypto. But if you would have said red pill like 5 years ago, it would have been like, a totally different meaning. It's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. It'd been like, yeah, I watched Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, goddamn right. But, okay. Here it is. Does Hut think that it picked up some traction with places like WallStreetBets and the meme coin communities like Doge and its alternatives like Sheeb and other weird stuff that are out there? Do you think this support will help you during a crypto bear market? Also, there's a r/Hut8 subreddit. Does anyone from the company ever go on there?
So I've been on there. I actually, when I first started, I tried to chat a little bit. And I think this was during I don't know what was happening, but someone kind of bullied me off of there. So I was like, I'm not going back down. I'm not going back in there. But yeah, are you kidding me? The retail, the Wall Street bets, the subreddits, all of Discord, Patreon, all of you guys, all of the community are absolutely instrumental in our success. And that's what I love about what's changing in the investment landscape. It's no longer, financial advisors or gatekeepers that are determining what they're going to shill their customers, their end customers who don't know what's up. Like, people know what's up now, and I don't know. You guys are instrumental into our success. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because a lot of people look at retail traders and say, "Oh, it's just a bunch of idiots that are just in a casino." And while there is a part of that, the funny thing is that just like the world got into an economic boom because there was so much information being spread, and not just through one or two sources when the internet came out, and people were able to identify things and learn things from different sources and formulate an opinion. I feel like that has opened up now with everybody understanding, and not just my show, but there's a lot out there for information in a very consumable way for a lot of people who have money.
I love it. It's amazing. And I also love that there's room for people like you to run your platform without some TV producer being like, sorry, you can't say that, or no, that doesn't sound good, or our commercial partners don't like it. Like, F that, man. Like, I just look at this as like the beginning, or a revolution has happened, and there's just so much more momentum where this can go. And you guys are instrumental to every company's success, in my opinion.
Yeah, so. But not every TV and network is that way. Some are really good and allow creative.
Some of them are wonderful.
Content. Yeah. CNBC, shout out. Okay. All right. Since Hut 8 stakes their Bitcoin and gets paid in fiat, how would their strategy change if Bitcoin had a significant price change?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm not really sure. Again, because we really care about counterparty. Like, we like who our counterparties are at Galaxy and Genesis. Technically we could be staking our Bitcoin on other platforms and earning higher yield. But right now we love that there's pretty low counterparty risk, or at least a lower counterparty risk with Galaxy and Genesis. That's a good question. I'm not sure I have an answer for it, but I can tell you that putting our money to work so that we can earn fiat is certainly a strategy that we like. And we're going to keep looking at different avenues to do that without having to sell any Bitcoin.
Okay. All right. Fair. I didn't mean to throw a left field curve. I'm just going down.
No. It's a good question.
All right. This person wrote like 9 questions, so I'm not giving them anything because their last question was, can I have a job? So we're going to ban them. Do you trade options?
Personally? Or does Hut 8? Hut 8 doesn't. Me personally,
here it goes, boys.
I have my options and derivatives license that I got through like the CSC years ago, but no, I don't trade options right now. Okay. I know how to, but I don't right now. I don't.
Okay. Not yet. All right. Another one here. This was a good one, I think. Since the mining sector is an arms race for hash power, how do you see this sector in 5 years? For now, there are a lot of small to mid-sized miners. Do you expect the smaller mining companies to eventually merge?
Yeah, I do, big time. Because people have been chasing hash rate and buying equipment. Companies have been chasing hash rate, but simultaneously there's been a extraordinary sort of increase in machine prices. So for example, equipment that we picked up last year for like $20 to $30 a terahash, we saw last spring go for $90 to $120 a terahash. And that's great when Bitcoin margins are super sexy and you can mine a Bitcoin because, at a crazy margins because it's trading for like 60, 70K. That's wonderful. But when Bitcoin trades sideways or down, that's a major risk to your balance sheet. Mm-hmm. And again, taking a balance sheet first approach to the business is a big priority for us. So if this volatility continues for the next couple of years, like again, I personally still see a 75 to 100K Bitcoin this year, but there will still be some volatility. Some of the smaller guys or people who have, made big calls, putting a lot of capital to the space. I don't think might not be able to meet sort of some of their projections. Also, because we still have supply chain disruptions with all this omni craziness.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do think there's going to be some consolidation for sure.
Yeah.
And again, like we said in our press releases, that we're welcome and we're looking forward to going shopping. We're pretty cashed up right now. So,
is it? Well, never mind. I was going to ask something that like MicroStrategy, but you guys hold your own Bitcoin, so it doesn't really have as much thing. Here's a follow-up question from the same.
Hold on. Quickly on MicroStrategy, do you guys know that one of the directors from the board of MicroStrategy joined our board in December? Rick Rickardson, who's really tight with Michael and is on his board, was like, I want to join HUD 8 board, so he joined. I'm
just noticing something. This is completely, a coincidence, but since we've been talking, your stock has. All right. Follow-up question from the same person. Does HUD 8 have a scenario for when most Bitcoins are mined and there is more reliance on transaction fees? Can you add some color on how that's going to pan out?
Do we have a scenario for when? Wait, sorry, say that again.
Does HUD 8 have a scenario for when most Bitcoins are mined and there is more reliance on transaction fees?
Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's where diversification and agility comes into play. Sorry, just 1 second here. I mean, look, again, because Bitcoin miners were like the Fed, we mint Bitcoin, but then we also we're like the Visa and MasterCard in the sense that we get paid for facilitating transactions on the network, even when the last Bitcoin is mined. So yeah, that's, I mean, but again, we're building out, we like I've been saying throughout this episode, is that diversification and agility is the name of the game, having a diversified business. So that's sort of the most I can say about that.
Okay, that's fair. It's a good question. I wanted to make sure that we got out there. Honestly, seriously, thank you for coming on. I know that you go on, you've been on a lot of different interviews and stuff like this, but it really means a lot to the community here because a lot of people know that I was huge into HUT and they made a bunch of money on it. Not that it's a call or anything, but the company, I like to learn more about it. And I think this is awesome. When you come back in 2 weeks or whatever it is, if you're wait, hold on real quick for the thing, you are coming back, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Blue Gang, congratulations. But yes, but thank you again for coming on. Like I said, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for bringing some insights. We'll get some more questions next time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the moment you were waiting for, it happened. Sue Ennis is here. Thank you, Sue, for coming on. BigSuey 6969 in the house. We will see you in 2 weeks with some big news. Thank you so much. We'll make sure we have some more questions, and you rock. We'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.